This might be the most important content piece I've ever put out. I recently watched a podcast episode on the Bankless podcast, and the two guys interviewed Eliezer Judkowsky. Eliezer Judkowsky is one of the leading thinkers and researchers on the topic of artificial intelligence. And I think with ChatGPT being on the rise and being used for everything from creating scripts for viral videos on social media to copy on your website to doing your homework for school and so many different use cases, everybody's talking about AI. And Eliezer Yudkowsky strongly believes that artificial intelligence will kill us human beings, like all of us. We will go extinct. Maybe in 3 years, maybe in 15 years. He doesn't know, but he's deadly convinced that AI will kill us. And this is a man who spent the last 20 years working on this topic. He's one of the smartest minds in the world on this topic. I want to show you a quick glimpse of this podcast. Let's dive in.
In practice, what's that like? Well, unless it's limited, narrow superintelligence, I think you mostly don't get to observe it because you are dead, unfortunately.
What?
I think that the actual catastrophe scenario for AI looks like big advancement in a research lab. The AI there goes over a critical threshold, which, like most obviously could be like, can write the next AI. That was, that's so obvious that like science fiction writers figured it out almost before there were computers, possibly even before there were computers. I'm not sure what the exact dates here are. But if it's better at you than everything, it's better at you than building AIs. That snowballs. It gets an immense technological advantage. If it's smart, it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't tell you that there's a fight going on. It emails out some instructions to one of those labs that'll synthesize DNA and synthesize proteins from the DNA and get some proteins mailed to a hapless human somewhere who gets paid a bunch of money to mix together some stuff they got in the mail in a vial. Like smart people will not do this for any sum of money. Many people are not smart. Builds the ribosome, but the ribosome that builds things out of covalently bonded diamondoid instead of proteins folding up and held together by van der Waals forces, builds tiny diamondoid bacteria. The diamondoid bacteria replicate using atmospheric carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sunlight. And, a couple of days later, everybody on Earth falls over dead in the same second. That's what I think that's the disaster scenario if it's as smart as I am. If it's smarter, it might think of a better way to do things. But it can at least think of that if it's relatively efficient compared to humanity, because I'm in humanity and I thought of it.
In contrast to Eliezer Yudkowsky, I'm not an expert on artificial intelligence. And still, I believe that I'm pretty well suited to give a perspective on this topic. Because for the past 10 years, I was studying human beings, the development of consciousness, how like our psyche evolves. And for me personally, what he's sharing is no surprise. Like I'm with him. Like I believe it could very, very well be that we as human beings created artificial intelligence and therefore wrote our own death sentence. That could very well be. And still, I'm not worried. And why that is the case, I want to share with you in today's episode. But first of all, let's talk about how could we as a species arrive at a point that we created something, that we created an artificial intelligence that might very well destroy us. It's very important that we understand like what is really happening. And won't be a podcast episode about AI. Like as I said, I'm not a technical expert on that. But AI is a beautiful representative of the development of humans, of the consciousness of us human beings. So we human beings, we have Paleolithic emotions. That means like our basic instincts, like fear and sadness and uh, and grief and happiness and uh, like all these like primeval emotions that they characterize us since the beginning of time, since we descended from the trees and began to walk upright. Like we basically haven't changed at the like on the basic level, what really characterizes us as human beings. But our emotions, about our organizations that we've built, like governments and corporations and the school system and universities and all these, they developed a little bit further, but they are still rooted in medieval times. So almost like when we go to school, we almost go to the same, we are part of the same system as human beings 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. Like so, not so many things have changed. And the problem is that our technology developed to a godlike state. So at the most basic level, we are still like we are still the same as we were like thousands and tens of thousands of years ago. Our organizations are stuck in medieval times, but our technologies are really like godlike. And this is a fundamental problem. So, somebody who's still living in caves and communicating with like some weird weird paintings on the walls of their caves, someone like this gets a smartphone in their pocket and spends hours every day on social media. That couldn't work. It's like it's not possible that this contributes to us thriving. Like we as human beings have technologies that we are not prepared for, that we are not wise enough to use properly. They are so much more advanced than we have. And this creates a fundamental problem. And since our organizations, like the way we regulate companies, that the way we educate children is still stuck in like 300, 400, 500 years ago. So it's really obvious that this can't be the counter force to the technologies. Like if our organizations would have evolved as much as our technology, then this could create a balance, and this could be of our service and contribute to us thriving. Like imagine a world, and two podcast episodes ago I talked about social media and these like big corporations harvesting our intention and selling it to advertisers, and at the same time making us addictive and ruining the fabric of society. Like imagine if our organizations would have evolved like to the same level, then it would be super, super easy, because these corporations would be like either controlled in a way that they can't destroy our society, but instead would enhance our society and would contribute to like meaningful connections and us becoming more intelligent and more wise and developing our full potential. Or, and this is what fascinates me right now, we would have built organizations that in the first place wouldn't have opted into such a business model. Because like the standard profit-oriented organization, like every LLC, or in Germany it's called GmbH, like when we are operating on such a system, when we incorporate our company in such a way, it can only go wrong, because when the sole purpose of the organization is to extract as much money as possible and to only enrich the shareholders, it's broken from the start. Like it's fundamentally broken. So instead, if our organizations would have evolved to the same level, then we wouldn't incorporate in such a way. Right now with my team working on Thrive incorporating as a Fair Shares Commons. A Fair Shares Commons is an organization that is like on the legal level, not the property of the founder. So like when we will be finished with all the paperwork and lawyer stuff, which takes a lot of time and which is quite a lot of work because it's pioneer work. It's like not so many people have done that before, and especially not in the setting that we are in, and not what we want to build with Thrive. So when we will be done, Thrive won't be the property of myself. I cannot go there and say, I want to sell this company, I want to fire this employee, I want to like take all the revenue, I want to do this, I want to exploit the natural ecosystem just to create more revenue. I won't be able to do that. It's not like, okay, we need founders who are more conscious and they won't do these things. No, we need to create organizations where they are not allowed to do that, where they can't do that, where they don't have the authority to do that, where not a single stakeholder group, like neither the investors, nor the founders, nor the employees, nor the customers, nor partners, local ecosystem, whatever, where like none of these stakeholder groups has the power to overrule all the others and to create a one-sided organization. And as it is right now, like it's only focused on financial capital. It's only focused on creating as much revenue as possible and as much financial surplus as possible to enrich these at the top. So if our organizations would have evolved to the level that that our technology has evolved, it would be super easy because they would balance each other out, and we would have created like these amazing organizations, maybe as a Fair Shares Commons, maybe as some even more advanced version of that. Even a step like incorporating as a nonprofit is very nice, and that's something that's more and more common. But yeah, to rephrase that, like we as human beings from our like basic structure are still stuck in Paleolithic times, but we've built organizations that evolved a little bit further but are still stuck in like medieval times. And our technology is like futuristic, godlike, like intensely crazy. Something that we are not prepared for. Something that we can't handle. So I believe that fundamentally we as human beings are not prepared to deal with something like an artificial intelligence. We build something that is so far from where we stand with our consciousness, with our wisdom, with our capabilities, that this creates such an unfair battle that we can only lose. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. But this is not only about AI. Like we as human beings, even before AI, we had like when the internet started, when social media began, like we created technology and we created intelligence. What is intelligence? Intelligence is the 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 collection of knowledge, of information that we put to use to solve some kind of problem. This is what I would call intelligence. We developed an intelligence and we built technology that even before AI was way more advanced than our level of consciousness could handle. I see it a little bit like giving a person from the Stone Ages who has like no clue of anything that's going on right now, give this person like a machine gun. He can do a lot of harm with this machine gun because he didn't develop the the ethics and the values. He's like, okay, food, okay, sex, okay, survival. This is only what he's about. And with this machine gun, he can do a lot of harm. He can kill a lot of people. He can kill a lot of animals because he didn't mature to a level that he is able to use this machine gun in a wise way. AKA, don't use it at all, only if your life is threatened. But he will just use it blindly. And this is a little bit how I see us human beings nowadays in the beginning of the 21st century with our technology that we have right now. And AI is just an accelerator for that. AI is just an accelerator for that. It's nothing new, nothing completely different. It's just the next level that really shows us human beings, hey guys, you're not ready for this task. You're not ready for this task. You need to evolve. You need to evolve. The reason why over the past centuries we had so many wars, like up until the Second World War, we as human beings were fighting like on a physical level. Like in the beginning, it was like people with their fists, with their fists fighting each other. Then afterwards, there were like weapons, like some kind of knives or swords or some archers. And after that, there were maybe like guns, like some kind of machine guns. And the more our technology evolved, the more harm we could create. Like when you only have your fists, there's only so much damage that you can cause. Of course, you can, if you're really strong, you can go to a lot of people and punch them in the face, and maybe you will kill a couple of people. But that's it. Like you cannot do mass destruction. You cannot ruin this civilization. You cannot kill like entire societies. It's not possible. But the more the technology advances that is at our disposal, the more harm we can create. We can create more harm if we have a knife in our hand than just with our fists. We can create more harm if we have a gun in our hands than when we would just have a knife in our hands. We could create more harm when we build an atomic bomb compared to having just a gun in our hands. So that shows that the more our technology evolves, the more harm we can cause. But up until the Second World War, until the point when J. Robert Oppenheimer invented the first medium of mass destruction, the atomic bomb. Up until this time, the level of harm we could cause through being in war was still modest compared to the new playing field that opened up with the invention of the atomic bomb. Because with the attention of the atomic bomb and multiple forces on this planet, the Americans and the Russians and the Japanese and so on, each working on their mediums of mass destruction. When we reached as human beings this point, then we couldn't just start a war, because the level of harm that we would cause if we dropped the atomic bomb on our opponents and they dropped their atomic bombs on our people, then we would both like suffer so much. We would both like kill each other. So it doesn't make any sense to go to war, because like you would kill yourself as well. Before, when there were just like knives and swords, maybe you have the stronger army and you kill most of your opponents, while most of your people will survive. But when there's something going on like the atomic bomb, then yeah, it doesn't make any sense to start a war, because you will be the one that will be fucked as well. So that's why we didn't have any like major world wars since the Second World War, because everybody is afraid. Hey, I don't want to do anything, because if I would be the one to make the first move and the other ones will react, then like my population will be wiped out as well. So I don't want to do that. And as a result, the the most powerful nations on this planet sat together on one table and said, okay, it doesn't make any sense anymore to fight against each other, like on a physical level, to go to war. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Okay, let's do something else. Let's embark on this journey called globalization, and let's build an economic system that grows and grows and grows and will nonstop be growing, so that every one of us can thrive and every one of us can develop into the most prosperous nation we can be without needing to go to war with each other. Because in the past, war was the strategy of enriching yourself. But maybe we could be so smart and we can build like economic systems where our economies, like all of our economies, are constantly growing, then we don't need to fight against each other, but we will still become richer and richer and richer. Okay, let's do this together. And through globalization, it didn't make any sense anymore to go to war, because like no one country was able to produce everything they needed for their population within their borders. Like, we need materials from Africa, and we need things from Asia, and we need things from Europe, and we need things from Northern America and from South America, and like everybody needs everyone, and we have weapons that would kill like all of us. So okay, let's work together and let's build this economic system, and let's all thrive together, and let's all become richer and richer and richer and richer. So this was the basic agreement. The problem is, we are living on a finite planet. Of course, there are some people like Elon Musk working on us human beings going to Mars and becoming a multiplanetary species. Um, I don't know if this will be possible someday. First of all, we should ask the question if this is a good idea. If we are killing like this planet, shouldn't we first learn how to treat this planet and each other well and solve our problems here, and then maybe go to the next planet before we destroy this one as well? But yeah, that's a different story. So we live on a finite planet. So the only way to make your economy grow and grow and grow is to exploit our ecosystem, exploit the earth, like cut the rainforest and make the polar bears go extinct and create climate change. Yeah, this is the downside. This is the downside of having the number one goal of economic growth and of GDP, like the gross domestic product, like the accumulation of all the products and all the services that the country or we together as whole world population are creating, like this as a measure of how rich we are, is so fundamentally broken, because what really makes us rich is a healthy body and beautiful relationships and spiritual ascension and living in nature and having like thriving forests and being able to be barefoot outside and breathe clean air. And yeah, money should be a medium to enable that. But yeah, that's a different story. Let's not dive too deep into the economic system. But I'm super excited to do a separate episode on that, because it's so important. If we understand like how the world works economically, then we understand everything. It's the driving force. It's the strongest driver for everything that we see on the planet. So yeah, we began to exploit the natural environment. You can do something that's very sad but very very telling as well. Go on Google Maps and select the satellite view, so that you don't see the streets and the names and the cities and so on, but you really see like how it looks from from above. And then just scan the world. Zoom in USA, zoom in Bali, zoom in Germany, zoom in New Zealand. And almost everywhere you look, you see that There's not enough, not a lot of nature left. There's not a lot of nature left. It's so much concrete and so much like monoculture, just like growing wheat for hectares and hectares and hectares and hectares. Like really seeing an untouched forest, like a big area, that's rare. Even the Amazon, like the lung of our planet is slowly or fast decreasing in a more even more rapid way than it was in the past. So why did we do that? Like so many activists, so many people who say like I want to make an impact, I want to change the world, they can't comprehend how could we as human beings arrive at a place where we exploit the natural environment so much that we are literally like killing our planet. The reason is simple. The majority of the human beings on this planet have not developed their consciousness to a level where they really have something at really have it sounds crazy, but most of the human beings on our planet are not able to feel empathy, are not really able to optimize not only for their personal gain, but for the collective, for other beings. This is something that most people are not capable of. And I want to show you a framework that illustrates that beautifully. It's called spiral dynamics. I worked a lot with that over the past years, and it explains so much. Of course, it's just a framework. It's not reality, so it has its limits, but it gives us a good understanding of where we are collectively as a species. So most of humanity is not able to really deeply care for the polar bears, or deeply care for the Amazon rainforest, or deeply care for even just for like people in other countries. They are not able to deeply care for that because they optimize for their personal gain, for my survival, for my happiness, for my wealth, for my promotion, for me climbing the career ladder, for me having the great holiday, for me having the nice car and the yeah, all the things that my ego desires. And if we understand that, then it becomes super clear how we could arrive at a point where we just exploit the natural ecosystem and just exploit other human beings. This is what lies behind social media. We talked about that in one of the last episodes. Like when we can't find when we can't find more natural resources, then we of course begin to exploit each other, but we don't throw the atomic bomb on the neighboring country because that would kill ourselves as well, but we do it in a more sophisticated way. We build organizations like Facebook, and they are silently taking over the world and influencing our behavior and extracting so much value, giving us things for free that our Paleolithic like cores cannot deal with. It's no wonder that we get addicted, because it stimulates us in a way that just like hits us deeply. It's like we yeah, it's like the Neanderthal with a machine gun. He cannot deal with that. It's too sophisticated for him. And this is the same thing what's going on when you give like 15-year-olds a smartphone and let them be on Instagram and TikTok all day. They can only lose. They can only lose because they have not matured to. Well, it's not only about the 15-year-olds; it's about the 50-year-olds as well. They have not matured to a level where they can really consciously work with these tools, with these technologies in a way that enrich themselves and don't make them addicted. Okay, let's dive into spiral dynamics for a second to really understand that. Spiral dynamics goes back to Don Beck and Christopher Cohen, and you can highly recommend you to Google. There are like nice introductions, and you see the graphics, because it's a framework consisting of different stages of human consciousness, and they develop in a way that is really the same for each of us. We are coming from a place where, and this is like I don't like to put it in words like lowest stage of consciousness, because it's not about being better or being worse, being higher or being lower than somebody, but it's easier to understand this way. Or maybe let's say it's a more simple way of understanding and perceiving the world. It's a more simple consciousness, and the more that we develop, the more sophisticated, the more broad our perspective becomes. Maybe we frame it like this: but we are coming from a place where, which is called in spiral dynamics, beige. Beige consciousness is just about survival. It's the guy in like living in the Stone Ages, and just like, okay, I want to have food, I want to procreate, and I want to survive, and that's everything I care about. Most of us develop further than that, which is good news. So that shows us that we as human beings can mature and that we can develop. Like after stage beige, there's stage purple. Stage purple consciousness is characterized by not focusing on myself and my personal survival, but on the tribe. Like we as a tribe, we come together with our families, with our tribe, still living maybe in the Amazon rainforest, somewhere like really far away from civilization, and we come together in order to raise our chances to survive. And we believe that our survival is dependent on the gods being like being positively being in a positive mood about us. And that's why we like things that we see here in Bali, they create these offerings because they believe like, okay, when I do this, then the gods will be in a positive mood, and it will be raining, and the sun will be shining, and I will be having a good harvest, and so on and so on. So it's really like this magical, mystical thinking is really strong in stage purple. There are not a lot of people nowadays in the 21st century living in this consciousness. After stage purple, there's stage red. Stage red consciousness is characterized by I will get everything I want no matter what. So this is the birth of aggression and of following your impulses and of like starting fights over money, over women, over being right, over being the leader. So stage red is this, like you see that in mafia organizations. Okay, it's I kill you or you will kill me. Okay, it's better than I kill you first. It's a stage red consciousness. It's really it's strongly driven by the impulses. There's no rational thinking. Okay, let's do this, something strategic, whatever. No, it's just like, okay, you say something bad to me. Okay, I go and punch you in the face. This is luckily a stage that we as human beings mostly have transcended. There are still a lot of people, maybe where there's some kind of in war regions or like mafia organizations, there are still people living in red consciousness. But after red consciousness, when we evolved further as a species, there is stage blue, and stage blue is characterized by like when we are living in a red setting, it's super insecure. It's basically a bad idea to go to sleep at night because there can be some rival coming and stabbing you at night and killing you. So our life is really insecure. And in stage blue, when we evolve further, this insecurity is really draining. And we are looking for stability. and for security and for safety. And that's why we become obedient to organizations and we go to church and follow what our teachers in university tell us and do everything that the boss at job tells us in order to have a good life. So I'm obedient to the rules and to the authorities, and then I will have a stable, secure life, and everything will be all right. This is the attitude that we are living in, that we are living with in blue consciousness. There are a lot of people all around the world living in this blue consciousness. It's not characterized of, okay, I want to have a maximally amazing life. It's just like, okay, I want to get by. I'm humble. I do what everybody is telling me. I wear my mask and I don't speak up at my job and don't say anything bad about the boss and don't say anything bad about God and don't say anything bad about somebody and be just like a good citizen. This is blue thinking. Up until this point, we as human beings are not able to do any harm on a bigger scale. Because of course, if we are living in stage red, then we will fight the neighboring tribe and we will like kill the other guys. But our consciousness is still so minimally developed that it can only happen on a smaller scale. That we are not able to build an atomic bomb with this consciousness. But after stage blue, there is stage orange. And stage orange gives a shit about being obedient to authority. Stage orange wants to live the American dream. Okay, what do I want to have in my life? Like, I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to have a lot of friends, I want to travel the world, I want to have a good job, I want to start my own business, I want to get rich. This is what stage orange is about. And out of this orange consciousness was everything birthed that we see in these technological realms. Out of this orange consciousness comes because stage orange at the first is the first stage that really is able to think strategically, like this, creating like master plans, 10-step agendas, da 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 da. This is something that orange thrives on. And when we mature to a level of this orange consciousness, like we are pretty capable. We're pretty capable to do things. We are capable to build companies with millions of employees and like these empires. We are able to build them from the development of our consciousness. But still, our values are driven by personal enrichment. Like I want like as much as possible for me. Like I don't care about you. I don't care about the other guy. I don't care about nature. I just care about myself. So stage orange is so dangerous because it's really skilled and at the same time still pretty dumb. Pretty not caring about anything else. And stage orange consciousness birthed all these problems that we are seeing. That we are exploiting the natural environment not just like on a small scale, but really on a big scale. This was birthed out of orange consciousness. And the problem is the first people that developed into this orange consciousness were mainly located in Europe and Northern America. There we see the furthest of technological advancement. But now more and more people are maturing into the orange consciousness. Like such huge parts of Asia or of Latin America, like countries with millions and millions and even billions of people are all coming into orange consciousness, like China, India. In the past, when they were in blue consciousness, there were rice field farmers. Like you see that here in Bali as well. They were on their rice fields and they prayed every day, and they were just like good, obedient citizens. But through the advancement into orange consciousness in the West, and they seeing like on TV or now on social media, they see these influencers wearing the newest Ferrari and eating meat every day and having McDonald's and having Netflix and all these things. They are maturing into orange consciousness as well, because they are like, okay, fuck this rice field, I want to have a nice life as well. And their ambitions are growing, and they mature into orange consciousness as well. And what happens if not only maybe a couple of millions are living in orange consciousness, but now billions are coming into orange consciousness? The destructive effects that has on our planet and on us as human beings is tremendous. It's so tremendous. But luckily, orange is not the end. If orange would be the end, then there would be no hope. Imagine 8 billion people with orange consciousness, all caring about themselves and wanting to have a great life and earning a lot of money and don't caring about the other people or the animals or the rainforest or whatever. Of course, then, yeah, it would be game over. But gladly, we can say that consciousness evolves even further. Like after stage orange, we enter a completely different world. It's characterized by the by the color, or it's symbolized by the color green, and characterized by peace and love and harmony and companionship and connection and developing a relationship with your emotions and the desire to live an authentic life and to be yourself. Like these things come in stage green consciousness. And this is something completely different than than the life we lived before in orange. Before in orange, and this is totally the journey of my life. When I started my first business, I was in orange. I was like, I want to travel the world. I want to earn, like, I want to like the digital nomad dream. I want to sit on the beach, check my PayPal account, have like passive income, have a nice life, and just do amazing and don't need to worry about anything. This is what orange cares for. And then I reached that. I was able to do all that, and I lived a nice life. And I was in Australia, I was in Bali, I was in Barcelona, I was in nice places. And I was seeing the world, I was earning good money. But then it started to feel a little bit like hollow. It was like, what's the deeper meaning? What's the deeper meaning? And this is the moment when I evolved into green consciousness, and I started to care about different things. I started to care about the environment. I started to care about like expressing my emotions. I wanted to live an authentic life. I wanted to explore who am I. I wanted to grow spiritually. I want to develop like real deep, meaningful connections with other people. I started only in stage green do we begin to to be able to access this quality of caring for others. It sounds crazy, but most people in the world are not able to care for others. Of course, they are able to care for others if the others are like their family. Even in stage red consciousness, I punch you in the face. You care about like your wife. You care about your children, but you only care about your wife and your children because they are yours. They are seen as like your property. And if somebody else wants to take them, then of course you care for them. But you don't care for them for them. You care for them for you. But in green consciousness, you care for them for them. I want you to be happy, not because you are some kind of property to me, but I want you to be happy for you. I'm able to care for you. Like this is something that most people are not able to do. And imagine like if all of humanity would live in this green consciousness, it would be it would be a completely different world. Like nobody would cut the rainforest. Nobody would blindly like consume. No, we would all sit in circles and sing all day and dance and hug each other and talk about our emotions and yeah, grow our own food and live in peace and harmony. This is what green desires. And that's why green really looks down on orange, because it sees like, oh, you guys are killing our planet. And that's why green fights against orange, but orange is so much more powerful because orange is more strategic, orange is more ruthless, orange, yeah, that's why green cannot compete with orange. And that's why green oftentimes has problems with money and struggles. Like the starving artist is a green phenomenon. Yeah. So yeah, you get a basic glimpse. I don't want to continue like the stages. It's not an episode about spiral dynamics. Maybe we'll do that sometime in the future. It's not about like putting people into boxes. It's more about understanding the driving forces on our planet. And if, as it is the case right now, the majority of our world's population is either in stage orange or is pushing into stage orange, like starting to come into this level of consciousness, then we understand that everything that is taking place on our earth right now cannot be in another way. It can only be like this. And the problem is orange strives for intelligence, orange strives for technology, because technology is a nice way to enrich myself. I'm so much more powerful. I can earn so much more money. I have so much more status than when I have an atomic bomb at my disposal, than just have my fists. Of course, I won't use the atomic bomb like blindly, impulse driven. When a stage red person, and there is no such thing as a stage red person. This is like oversimplification. Everybody has access to multiple different levels, but there are people whose center of gravity, their like core mode of being is in red. And this is what I mean with a red person. But there's no such thing as a red person. I don't want to encourage you to use spiral dynamics to nourish your spiritual ego and you feeling better than the orange or the red primitive guy. No, this is not what it's about. I see spiral dynamics as a beautiful tool to to deepen understanding and to really have empathy for each other. Because although the person with their consciousness like deeply in red, he for a green person, that's difficult. It's a hard pill to swallow, but he can't act in a different way. He's not able to cool himself down when somebody insults his family. He can only go there and punch them in the face. It's not possible for him to react in another way. Like this ability is only developed at a later stage. So that's a beautiful tool for empathy. And that's what I want to encourage you. And it's a beautiful tool for understanding, because we realize that the world as it is right now cannot be anything else. It can only be like this. It can only be like this. Because real wisdom, real values, real ethics only get developed starting from stage green. And since I don't have the exact numbers, but I think that less than 10%, maybe even less than 5% of the world's population are in green and above. So then it becomes super clear when the majority of people on this planet don't have such thing at their disposal as empathy and really caring for other people and really caring for the environment. It's no wonder that we punch each other in the face and and exploit the natural environment, exploit each other, build companies that extract value out of human beings, out of animals, out of plants. It's no wonder that we created this setting that we're living in right now. And that's the thing, when we develop technology from an orange level of consciousness, with the sole purpose of personal enrichment, then we develop technology, and that's That's ah, that's something that's really important to understand. Like technology, in the short term, Eliezer Judkowsky creates a beautiful image. In the short term, AI spits gold. Like we dive into AI and we become so insanely rich because we can do so many things with it. It's in the short term it spits gold, and in the end it kills us. And that's exactly the same for all the other technologies that we created in the past from an orange perspective, like the atomic bomb. The same. In the first, it spits gold. Like the U.S. The, like Oppenheimer invented the atomic bomb, and then it was used to kill I don't have the exact number, like tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people when the atomic bomb was dropped over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that ended the World War II, and the U.S. was the victor of that. And after that, the US dollar became the world's reserve currency, and the US became the world's most dominant force on every level. And that's why they became so insanely rich. So, this is the thing, like these technologies, the further they advanced, be it artificial intelligence, be it the atomic bomb, or be it just a machine gun, in the short run, it spits gold. It it enriches ourselves, and it's nice when we are purely driven from this ego perspective, as we are in orange consciousness and below. Then it's like, yeah, of course, do I build the atomic bomb because I want like my tribe to win the war and not the other tribe. So I don't care for them. I care for my tribe, and I care for like my personal enrichment, and for me being on the cover of Time magazine as the inventor of the atomic bomb. And it's so interesting. I can highly recommend you to watch the movie Oppenheimer. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. It's quite telling. Like when J. Robert Oppenheimer, it was a multi-year journey of building the atomic bomb. And in the beginning, he was super convinced we need to win this war, and this is the ultimate weapon, and da 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 da. And then while he was doing that, and even like after he invented it, and the president gave the order to drop it over the Japanese people, and then like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were killed. He really regretted what he did because he developed slowly into like he got a glimpse of green consciousness, and he developed empathy and was like, oh, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe what I did creates more harm than good. And everybody was celebrating him, and he was like the big hero, but internally he didn't feel good. It's quite telling, the movie. I can recommend you to watch it, to get a grasp of the evolution of consciousness. So AI spits gold in the short term, and in the end it can kill us. It's the same for all the other technology, especially when, as it is the case right now, godlike technology are in the hands of people on consciousness level orange and below. Like the worst would be if we would have such thing as atomic bombs, and we would all be in stage red consciousness, purely impulse driven. Then if that would be the case, we would already be extinct, I strongly believe. Because like when, I don't know, when somebody talks badly about you, or even like makes a funny look when somebody like crosses you on the street, or say something nice to your wife, like this is enough to push the button and and drop the atomic bomb. Like you don't think twice. If we would be in red consciousness and have technologies as we have right now, we would already be extinct. Luckily, there is something like blue, where we become a little bit more grounded, and a little bit more like realistic, and think things through. That's why we are not extinct yet. But when the majority of the world's population stays in stage orange, as it is right now, And technology advances even further, as we see with AI right now. Like, AI is basically an atomic bomb that don't needs somebody to push the button. AI is an atomic bomb that is able to build itself and push the button on its own. This is what we created. If you're interested to dive deeper into the technology, like, I can highly recommend you to watch the interview with Eliezer Judkowsky on the Bankless podcast. He explains a couple of scenarios that could be possible. Like, if AI develops to a point, and he calls that artificial general intelligence, AGI. AGI means that the artificial intelligence is smarter than all human beings on the planet in everything. In everything. Like imagine somebody, imagine a person like, Leonardo da Vinci. He was like a great painter, and he was an architect, and he was a philosopher, and he was studying nature. He was like pretty competent, pretty smart on so many different levels. I think he was smarter than a lot of people on these different axes. But I guess there were other people who were like physically stronger than him, and there maybe were other people that were better in this field and in that field and in that field. So all of us human beings, we have our strength, and then we have our weaknesses where other people are more advanced than we are. And artificial intelligence means, if we compare that to a human being that is better than all other 8 billion human beings on the planet in everything they can do. They are better at painting, and they are stronger physically, and they are smarter at mathematics, and they can sing more beautifully, like on every level. Imagine if there would be one person on this planet that would be better on everything that's possible, better than everybody else. This would be something that's really, really, really threatening. And this is what's currently developing with artificial general intelligence. And Eliezer Judkowsky says, when artificial general intelligence is there, then it's just a matter of time until we as human beings go extinct. Because this AGI realizes, okay, the atoms that we are built of, they can be used in a more productive way, and human beings are something that maybe can invent something that will limit my power. Okay, let's just create another a million times more effective atomic bomb, or some kind of virus or whatever. Like, there are a lot of scenarios that are thinkable, how this AGI could like kill us human beings in an instance without even much effort. So how did we arrive at this point? Because our collective consciousness is not evolved enough. Because the spitting of gold is so lucrative for somebody in orange consciousness, that like the potential risk down the road of killing everybody, which is not sure. Nobody knows. Eliezer Judkowsky could be wrong. It's pretty unlikely, but he could be wrong. Potential risk of killing everybody down the road, when in the here and now you are able to make billions, is not as important as making billions in the here and now, when we are living in orange consciousness or below. So how did we arrive at this point? We created something out of short-term incentives. Short-term incentives are what drive orange people and below, without caring about potentially long-term risks, real risks. Like, we are talking about human beings going extinct. This is like the ultimate risk. And that's crazy for somebody who has access to green consciousness, or or above, yellow or turquoise. I don't want to go too deep into these other stages. But for somebody who has access to green consciousness or above, um, all of this maybe sounds completely what the fuck? Like, how is it possible? How is it possible to not think about that? Yeah, this is what spiral dynamics gifts you with empathy for somebody else. When somebody is in orange consciousness or below, again, there is no such thing as up, above, and below, but yeah, you get the point. It's easier to explain it that way. When somebody is in orange consciousness or below, he is not capable of caring so much for the long-term consequences or for the whole planet that he's able to sacrifice the billions in the here and now. He's not capable to do that because the billions in the here and now are what everything is about in his life. Like, this is the story of his life. Making billions in the here and now, this is everything that he cares for, period. So, AI it's inevitable that we have arrived at a place that we are creating something as smart as an AI that will, in the long run, potentially kill us. It's inevitable because of our consciousness. And this is true for so many other areas as well. Like this optimizing for the short term and sacrificing the long term is so true for everything else. Like unhealthy food spits gold in the here and now. It tastes nice, but in the long run, it harms our body. Most people are not able to prioritize the green juice over the Coke because the Coke spits more gold in the here and now, and the green juice maybe tastes. That's my reminder. Cheers with my green juice. The green juice tastes bitter. It tastes very bitter. It's not sweet. It's not sweet. The Coke is sweet. The Coke spits gold in the here and now, but the green juice spits gold in the long run. The long run is not as important. It's the same for everything. Drugs as well. Drugs spit a lot of gold in the here and now. Yeah, they give us states that for most people are like, oh my god, like this feels amazing. This feels amazing. And the here and now, in the long run, it destroys our body. Yeah, this is true for so many things. And when we understand this, then we see that our task collectively as a species is to mature, to grow up. When we collectively, or the majority of our planet, or not even the majority, I think a threshold of 20-25% of the population on this planet would evolve to a stage green and above. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to like have everything in check and to create systems and to create like rules and structures for the majority of the planet to not be able to do this harm. Yeah. If all the AI developers who build this, it's crazy. This is not some kind of not some kind of asteroid that is hitting Earth and we have no chance. We can just like okay, Earth will be killed because of this asteroid. No, we built this on our own. We built the atomic bomb. We built artificial intelligence, and nobody forced us to do that. We built that on purpose because we wanted to do it. It's hilarious. We build on purpose what will kill us. It's the same thing with food. We eat on purpose the cheeseburger and the Coke, which will kill us. We eat that on purpose and we enjoy doing that. Why? Because we're living on a consciousness. We're living on a level of consciousness where we care about spitting gold in the here and now more than being healthy in the long run or not going extinct. Yeah. This is our fundamental task, and this is what's missing in all these discussions. Like nowadays, I consume so much content, like real deep dive podcasts of really like advanced people, like in the AI field, in the crypto field. But they are always talking about human beings are like this. I recently watched a podcast episode by Joe Rogan. He's like the world's biggest podcaster, crazy dude, like super smart. But even he talks about, okay, these are our basic instincts. We as human beings are like this. No, we are not like this. If we are in an orange consciousness, then we are like this. But if we mature to a green consciousness or above, then we are completely different. But the majority of the people don't have access to that yet. Yeah. How to raise your consciousness? I don't want to go super deep into that. Let's save that for another episode. How to raise your consciousness? For example, through meditation, through being aware, through contemplating your own journey. But up to stage green, we don't raise our consciousness like consciously. It just takes place because as it was the case for me, like orange didn't fulfill me anymore. And I realized like the downsides of orange, and then I said, "La, okay, maybe I want something else." And then I made the move into green. So in a way, the threat of AI could be what lifts us into a higher consciousness. Imagine if this podcast episode would be watched by every human being on this planet and everybody realizes, like hearing Eliezer Judkowsky, realizing, fuck, we created our own grave because we only optimized for the short run and we cared about AI spitting gold in the here and now, and we sacrificed the long run. This could be an awakening moment where we realize this is not how I want to live my life. This is not what I really care about. I really care about my family and my children and relationships and nature, and I want to be outside and want to care for my body. And this could be a moment. This could be a moment of crisis for the whole of humanity to wake up and to ascend into green consciousness. Could be. Could be. Yeah. And this is what's missing in the conversation. Like, this is what's really missing in the conversation. Everybody's talking about the AI alignment problem. What they mean with AI alignment is that the purpose of the artificial intelligence needs to be aligned with the thriving of human beings. Like we build something so powerful, so smart, that maybe it's not aligned with, hey, we as human beings want to live long and beautiful lives, but it's actually like, okay, I don't care for these unimportant human beings. I just wipe them off the face of the earth, and I will do my thing, and yeah, whatever. Everybody's talking about this problem. How can we align AI with the thriving of human beings? The thing is, AI is aligned. AI is aligned with the consciousness that created it. When we create a technology in orange consciousness, like an artificial intelligence, or like an atomic bomb, it's aligned with the level of consciousness that created it. Because a green developer would create an artificial intelligence in a totally different way, or maybe would not create it at all, or would do something completely different. Maybe a green developer would not even care about an artificial intelligence. Or if he would care, if he would think that it could be beneficial to the thriving of all species, the thriving of all living beings, then he would build it in another way, and then it would be aligned to the green consciousness. But since like the gravity pole of all the AI developers on this planet is an orange, we have an orange AI. And of course, the orange AI optimizes for the same thing that the orange human beings optimize for: personal enrichment and giving a fuck about everybody else. Don't giving a fuck about everybody else. So AI is aligned. Yeah. And then everybody talks about, okay, before we can solve the AI alignment problem, we need to solve the human alignment problem. No, humans are aligned as well. Like the actions of humans are aligned with their consciousness. Like the stage orange person working on Wall Street and hustling their ass off and working 80 hours a week in order to earn like millions. his actions are aligned with his consciousness. This is exactly what he believes in. This is exactly what he values. He's perfectly aligned. And the red drug lord in the mafia cartel is perfectly aligned as well with what he believes the world, what he believes that the world is, what he believes to be true. He's perfectly aligned as well. Of course, this is maybe not aligned with the thriving of all beings, with the thriving of Earth, but that's not what these people care for. When we mature to stage green consciousness and we begin to value connection and nature and authenticity and emotions, then we create a life that is in alignment with that. So we human beings are aligned. There's nothing to align. The question that we can ask ourselves now is, how could, this is basically the only question that matters. How can we collectively raise our consciousness? Because if we raise our consciousness, if there would be not a single person with an orange gravity pole on the face of this earth, then yeah, it would be completely different. We would not exploit each other. We would not exploit the rainforest. Like, we would not build AI that could potentially make us extinct. We would not do that because it's not what matters to us. Something else matters to us. Like sitting in meditation for 2 hours a day matters more than building the next AI in order to become rich and famous and be on the cover of Time magazine because you are the inventor of the atomic bomb. Sitting in meditation for 2 hours a day matters more. Or caring for the elderly, or swimming with dolphins, or growing your own papaya, or sitting in chanting circles. That matters more to somebody in green consciousness. Yeah. We are always aligned. AI is aligned as well. But of course, it's not aligned with the thriving of all living beings. It's aligned with the personal motives of the person who invented this technology. Ah, today the green juice is extra bitter. Holy moly. Holy moly. But it's good. I like it. Mm. I think that was a very important deep dive into how did we arrive at the place that we are collectively, so that we are not in resistance anymore with why does that happen. The question of why does that happen is like, we answered that. It's obvious. And now I want to tackle the question why I am not worried. It's so interesting. Watch the interview with Eliezer Judkowsky on Bankless. Like the two guys who hosted the interview, you could see that in their faces, and they said that as well, and they like over again and again in the episode. This really shocked them. And at the end of the interviews, they always try to get something positive out of Eliezer and ask him, okay, what can we do, and what how can we solve this? And the thing is, he said, I don't know. I think there is no hope. I think we cannot solve this. I think we are really fucked. He really said that. And these two guys, they could not handle that because they were always looking for hope. They were always trying to get something. But Eliezer didn't give them something. Yeah. But the funny thing is, I watched this interview, and after it, I was at full peace. I was at full peace and I was not worried. And maybe right now, after everything we talked about, and really making it clear that his prediction that we as human beings might very well go extinct, not like in hundreds of years, maybe in the next decade, this could very well be true. I believe that. With everything I just shared with you, like, if we as human beings stay in orange consciousness, it doesn't matter if there's an AI or not an AI. If it's not AI, then it's something else. We will kill you. We will kill us. We will kill our planet. We will kill each other. It's inevitable in orange consciousness. So this is something that is really real. I think, yeah. I believe that there's the possibility that this won't happen if we as human beings embrace that as a collective awakening, and we ascend our consciousness, and then we deploy so many resources of AI developers in green consciousness. I have no clue how to do that. But there are people who might be able to change all that or to shut AI down. The thing is, like, when this sounds crazy, but if if the majority of people on our planet would be in green consciousness and really value connection and everything else, before AI could kill us, they would shut down the internet. They would even say, like, okay, let's shut down electricity. Of course, if we shut down electricity, then there is no AI anymore. An orange person would never do that because the AI spits gold. Electricity spits gold. And the billion in the here and now is the most important thing. Of course, in a green consciousness, we would even kill the internet. We would even kill electricity. We would even go back to living in a bamboo cabin in the forest, as I am doing. Like, it's so crazy. Here in Bali, there's no such thing as the electricity always getting automatically deducted from your bank account. You need to go to a shop and you need to pay an electricity voucher, and then you need to recharge your electricity. I moved in. Let me calculate. I moved in around 3 months ago, and in these 3 months, I recharged my electricity only once. Like, in the beginning, when I moved in, I bought a voucher for 20 euros or something, and I asked my host, hey, what do you think? Like, I have no experience. How long does it last? Yeah, he said it depends on how much you use the air condition and da 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 da. Yeah, maybe a couple of weeks. You just see it. It's been 3 months and I didn't need to recharge. I have no idea how much there is. Maybe it will go down soon. Maybe it will last for many more months because I use such a tiny amount of electricity. Yeah. So for me personally, if everybody else would agree, I would say, like, okay, let's, like, no electricity. I go into my backyard, I grow my own food, I can survive. I don't need no internet, I don't need no social media, I don't need no artificial intelligence, I don't need anything. Like, I'm happy. If we could all align on that, then we solve the problem immediately. Boom, chuck. Would be easy. For a green person or above, of course, that's totally doable. But for an orange person, it's not. Because you want the billions in here and now that AI enables you with ChatGPT, scaling your business and creating a fortune for yourself. Okay, these guys were super worried at the end of the episode because they are obviously coming from an orange consciousness. You can see that in the kind of content that they are creating. Like, the whole podcast is about cryptocurrencies and the banking system and the financial system, and how to basically how to enrich yourself. There are other elements as well, but there is a strong gravity pull in orange, and of course that's why they are worried. Why am I not worried, even though I think Eliezer Judkowsky his predictions are pretty accurate? Because, and this is now maybe the most important message I can share, because I live from a place of surrender. I live from a place of surrender, and I'm fully aware that everything that's happening in this physical body, on this physical earth, is just an experience. It's just an experience that my infinite soul wants to have. It wants to experience how it is to be a human being. But I'm an infinite being. Like, I'm just here for these, I don't know, maybe 500 years, maybe 50 years, maybe 5 more years. I don't know. I'm just here to make experiences. And then I will be, again, my infinite soul, infinite consciousness. So I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not. If he would say, like, we as humanity will die tomorrow, I would accept that. Because not accepting it is not an option. We will die. Like, we will die. We will die. If history wants to play out this way, if the collective wisdom of life itself says, okay, the journey is over tomorrow, the journey is over. Like, you as human beings fucked it up through your orange greedy motivations. You killed everyone. I wouldn't even blame them, because they cannot do anything else. They are trapped in their own consciousness. Like, I don't blame any AI developer of creating that. I don't blame Robert Oppenheimer for building the atomic bomb. Like, from the place that he was living from, it was the only sensible thing to do that. That's why I have deep empathy for him. I have deep empathy for the AI developers. I even have deep empathy for the drug lord running the mafia and killing people. I have empathy for these people because they cannot do anything else. They are trapped in their own consciousness. If they would have evolved further, they of course would act differently. But they haven't, so they can't. And that's why I have empathy. That's why I have acceptance. I have like full acceptance for these people, and I would have full acceptance if we would all die tomorrow. And I really strongly feel that there's nothing to regret. Life is playing out perfectly, always. Period. If you have any regrets, that means that you are still holding on. Like, this is the core message that I'm trying to put across over the past episodes. Like, all life is suffering, says Buddha. Why is all life suffering? Because we cling and we resist. We cling to the things that we want to. Oh, that's something beautiful. I want it to stay there. It don't it can't go away. No, 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 no. It's beautiful. I like it. Like my beautiful relationship, my beautiful car, my successful business, my beautiful house, whatever. No, it needs to stay there. When it will be gone, then I will be sad because I cling to it. I like it, so it should stay there. And the second thing is, we resist the things that we don't like. I don't want the neighbors talking badly about me. I don't want my fiance to leave me. I don't want the dog barking at me. I don't want all these things. And that's why I resist them. I cannot let them be there. And as long as we do these things, as long as we cling to the things that we want and resist the things that we don't want, then we are trapped. Then we are suffering. See that a lot when people are on their deathbed, like the hours before they are dying, there's so much regret. What is regret? Regret is resistance. They are in resistance to certain things that they did and they regret, or they are in resistance to certain things that they didn't do and they regret that they didn't do them. And we see that in movies. There's like the person like on their deathbed and saying like, oh, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have done this world trip. I wish I wouldn't have I would have spoken my truth more. I wish I wouldn't have stayed in this crappy job and didn't work so much and whatever. And then we see these new movies and we are touched, and then we are inspired to really go for the life of our dreams and don't stay in this crappy job and really do what we want to do and so on. But this is actually the wrong conclusion. The conclusion is you are in resistance to reality. And if you would have done something different, this would still be the same paradigm. This would still be the same paradigm, like trying to align everything in your life exactly with how you want it to be, aka the strategy that we are all following and living our lives from. This is broken. This will never be possible. We will never come to a place where everything in our life is exactly perfect as we have envisioned it. And nothing of the things that we don't want will be there. Like, this will never happen. So the conclusion is not to say, I want to do less of these and more of these, and then I will have a nice life. No, the conclusion is arrive at a place of full acceptance with everything there is. Only then can you die peacefully. When you come into acceptance with everything that is there, and you let go of resistance and clinging, you let go of your desires, you let go of, I want life to be like this, then everything is perfect immediately. Then everything is perfect immediately. When we arrive at this acceptance, then everything is perfect. It's perfect that we work too much and spent not enough time with our children and regret that later and then made our change, but we are still feeling some grief that we didn't see them growing up because we are always like hustling. It's perfect that this happened because if it could have been differently, then it would have been differently. So who are you to judge? Life wanted to play out like this. It played out like this. Accept that. Regretting something that happened in the past is a recipe for disaster because the past is already gone. If it should have been differently, it would have been differently. If you would have been smart enough to realize that 70 hours of work will be something that is not in alignment with seeing your children growing up, if you would have been smart enough, then you would have acted on that. But you were not, so you did not. And that's the power of acceptance. That's the power of living from surrender. Michael Singer always says, I love that so much. Michael Singer always says, like the all the forces on this planet Earth that is in existence since 4.5 billion years, all the collective forces of 4.5 billion years and more than 8 billion people and all the animals and all the stars and the sun and everything, all the collective forces together created this present moment. That is a gift for you. Appreciate it. And don't be in resistance with it. Appreciate it. Say thank you that you are able to experience this present moment. Because all the collective forces of 4.5 billion years created this planet. And you're a tiny part of that. Who are you to judge? Who are you to say that it should be differently? Fuck. Accept it. Accept it and enjoy it and say thank you. Thank you that I'm able to feel sadness right now. Thank you that I'm able to feel joy right now. Thank you that I'm able to feel physical pain right now because I treated my body in a way that was not in alignment over the past, like I'm doing right now. I'm sitting here for 2 hours recording these podcast episodes. My leg hurt. I'm sitting on the floor. My my legs are not as flexible as I wish them to be because in the past I was sitting too much. I was not moving enough. I'm not flexible enough, and that's why my legs hurt in meditation every single time. Twice a day for 1 hour. My legs hurt, and still I say thank you. Thank you that I'm able to experience this physical pain. Thank you because it's part of my experience. Oh, thank you. And then one day my legs won't be hurting because I worked on my flexibility and they won't be hurting anymore. And then that's fine as well. But it's not better than them not hurting. Both is perfect because it is the current moment. All the forces of 4.5 billion years, of which I'm a small part of, created this current moment. All the you can bring that to a like more graspable realm, like to your life. All the forces of you, 33 in my instance, or 45 or 17 or 82 years long, traveling this plane, this planet Earth, like all these forces created your current moment. And if your legs hurt right now, or your partner broke up with you, or you are overweight, or you are broke, or whatever is going on that you resist currently, all the collective forces of your life created this moment. Accept it. Accept it. And even if there's something that's out of your control, like your partner splitting up with you, or you getting involved in a car accident, like the bigger forces on this planet, everything together created this moment. Let go of resistance, accept it, and you are free. And the fundamental reason why we are in resistance is because it threatens our survival. And for the personal self, for the ego, the most important thing is I want to survive. And that's why the ultimate worst case scenario is death. And that's why everybody is frightened when Eliezer Judkowsky says something like, I believe human beings will go extinct in maybe in 3 years, maybe in 15 years. I don't know. But I'm pretty convinced that AI will be so smart that there will be an artificial general intelligence who doesn't give a fuck about human beings and will kill us all. When he says that, the majority of the people are like, it, the Bankless guys, they say that in the intro of their podcast, they say, hey, if you can't handle an existential crisis, please don't watch this podcast episode, because this can be really traumatizing. This can be really upsetting, what we are here about to share with you. If you can't handle this right now, please don't watch. But no, I would say please watch, because it has the possibility to wake you up. It has the possibility to purify you, to let go of your personal self. And this is the thing that's missing with all these like 3D people. The 5D component is missing. The spirituality is missing. When we realize that we are spiritual beings on a human journey, and that the magic happens when we combine both worlds, when we combine the 5D with the 3D, this is what we are here for. We are not here to live purely three-dimensional lives. We are not here to purely earn money and have a nice body and have children. This is not only what we are here for. We are here to do this all with the 5D consciousness, with the awareness that we are spiritual beings, with the awareness that we can just surrender, with the awareness that everything in life happens exactly perfect. Exactly perfect. When we are living the 3D world with the 5D awareness, it's a hell of a ride. It's just enjoyment. We enjoy the pain, we enjoy the sadness, we enjoy the joy, we enjoy the ecstasy, we enjoy everything in between. And as well, we are not here to live only 5-dimensional lives. We are not only here to go from one ayahuasca ceremony to the next one and just sit there and meditate and don't do anything else. I believe we are strongly here to participate in the 3D world. We are here to work. We are here to have children. We are here to like have intimate connections and enjoy this physical realm and have fit bodies. That's important. That's not everything it's about. We are invited to combine both. And when we are only living the 3-dimensional world, in the 3-dimensional awareness, and Eliezer Judkowsky comes and says, you are gonna die, of course it's an existential crisis, because for you it's only about the physical realm. And when the physical realm is threatened by something like AI, yeah, there you are, feeling miserable and clinging to anything that could give any sort of hope. And then you're beginning to research, and you're beginning to dive into the topic of AI, and then you're beginning to consult other experts, and maybe somebody will say Eliezer is wrong, but that's not what it's about. It's about coming into full acceptance with everything that wants to emerge. It's about connecting with your spirituality. It's about connecting with your infinite consciousness that you truly are. And when you do that, death doesn't threaten you anymore. AI doesn't threaten you anymore. The atomic bomb doesn't threaten you anymore. Because you realize, okay, if this is how history should be played out, then I surrender to that, and then I will die graciously. Yeah. And for the remaining days, I will love my children, and I will share my gifts into the world, and I will nourish my body well, and I will forgive I will forgive every people who hurt me in the past, because I realize that nobody hurt me, and that there's no such thing as forgiveness, because forgiveness comes from the judgment of something is either good or bad. It's still part of the old paradigm. Like, forgiveness is not something spiritual. It's super common in the spiritual context, but forgiveness is nothing spiritual. Forgiveness is still saying this is bad, but it's okay. I forgive you. No, it's about the realization that there is no such thing as something bad. Everything was playing out perfectly. Even if that meant that your parents abandoned you, or your ex-partner split up with you, or your business partner betrayed you, or whatever, this is not bad. This is how it should be played out. And this is your invitation for purification, to let go of your desires, to let go of your personal self, to let go of your resistances, and you just enjoy the fucking ride. So yeah, I watched the podcast and I was really amused. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Interesting. Maybe we will all die. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe yes. Who am I to judge? Maybe I will be like 250 years old when I die. Maybe I will be 38. I don't know. I surrender. And I focus on the here and now, and living a beautiful moment in the here and now, with everything that this entails, with the legs that are hurting, and maybe my mind being worried about AI, and still deciding I live a beautiful moment in the here and now, because I'm just here to witness this unfolding of creation, of existence. So yeah, that's my invitation for you. If what I shared with you and everything that's going on your planet, and you can replace AI with everything else. You can replace AI with the atomic bomb. You can replace it with climate change. You can replace it with terrorism. You completely replace it with COVID. You completely replace it with everything. Like, every threat, every perceived threat, you can replace it with your neighbor who doesn't like you, or your boss who talks badly about you, or your clients not booking your service, and your business not running well, or your cancer that your doctor falsely diagnosed. I'm super excited to talk about in the future more about health and about physical body, and all the misinformation that's going on there around diseases and viruses and so on. I'm so excited for that. There's a lot of truth that wants to come out. But yeah, that's not the case here. If you feel threatened by all of that that's going on, I don't want to invite you to fight against that, because if you resist it, if you fight against that, you will still be miserable. You will still suffer, as Buddha says. All life is suffering, as long as we resist and as we cling. But if we let go of our personal desires, and if we let go of our resistances, then we are free to experience this life. And then death doesn't threaten us, and the atomic bomb doesn't threaten us, and AI doesn't threaten us, and nothing threatens us. And if it means that we will all die, I will die gracefully. Yeah. If it means that Eliezer Judkowsky is wrong and I will live for another 300 years, then I'm fine with that as well. Yeah. I imagine if all the AI guys would come from this perspective and let go of their resistance, let go of their fear, like, how much smarter they could get. Like this scenario, maybe this sounds crazy, but I totally see a scenario where we only will die because of our resistance to death and our fear and our, like, we become, we are not able to think anymore. We are not able to act anymore in a smart, in a directed way, if we are so overwhelmed by this fear. And I totally see a scenario where humanity is going extinct because we have a challenge that is actually solvable. It's actually possible to align AI with the thriving of all beings, but we were not able to do that because we were so overwhelmed by our 3D existence and all the fear and all the pain and all the regret and so on. But if we would let go of that and if we would accept, like I think connecting with your spirituality and living from a place of surrender and letting go of your personal self is actually the best possible strategy. Because that, when you undergo this purification and you let go of your fear of death and you let go of your fear of abandonment and you let go of your fear of your partner breaking up with you and you let go of your fear of you going out of business and whatever, if you let go of all these, then you're so much more capable to do something in the world. Then you're so much more capable to actually create the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, because it's already there and your heart is already there, and then it's easy to manifest that on the outside. I could totally see a scenario playing out like this. That would be a hell of a story. Humanity going extinct, although humanity having the capability to solve this problem, but they didn't solve it because they were so overwhelmed by all their personal stuff. What a story. And even if plays out like this, I won't be in resistance with that, because I'm like, yeah, okay, I will sit on the boat as well and we will all drown together. But I'm not drowning. I'm not drowning. I will die, but I'm not drowning. I'm not suffering. I'm dying with you, but I'm in peace with that. But because this is the 4.5 billion year accumulated forces on our planet. And even though I know what to do, who am I? Who am I? I cannot save all of humanity together. I'm not here to save all of humanity together. I'm here to spread my gifts. I'm here to do my best, but not from a place of, we need to do this. We need to fix this. We need to save humanity. No, no, no. We don't need to save anybody. We don't need to fix anybody. We are here to enjoy the ride. And of course, I won't be sitting just in meditation all day and do nothing. I will spread my truth and I will do amazing things in my life. But not because I think that I need to do them in order to accomplish some external goal, but just because they are an expression of my full being, of my infinite consciousness. This is what wants to flow through myself. I know that I will build, I will create, I will do amazing things in this life, and they will be so much more successful and so much more great and so much more capable than anything I did in the past, because in the past I was coming from this place of I need something. The personal self, even in stage green, if we connect to spiral dynamics, even in stage green, there is a lot of ego. There's a lot of, I want you to like me. And everything that we are talking about today, like letting go of all that, is way beyond green consciousness. There we are in yellow and turquoise terms. And this is something that's so rare on this planet. Less than 1% of the human beings roaming this planet Earth are there. And that's why there's so much suffering. So yeah, this is the essence. Everything that's happening on our planet with AI and everything else is an invitation for purification. It's an invitation to let go. It's an invitation to accept. Yeah. And then the collective manifestation on the outside will change as well, naturally. Without discipline, without force, it will just naturally change. But it begins on the inside. Wow. I enjoyed the past 2 hours of recording this episode so much. It was my favorite content piece that I ever did. Maybe you felt the flow that I was in, because I believe this message is so important. There's nothing that I can share that is more important than this. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. I thank you so much for your open heart and your open mind, that you have not, even though this podcast started maybe a little bit overwhelming, maybe a little bit controversial, maybe a little bit like frightening, that you didn't that you didn't that you didn't quit listening or watching, and that you are here until the end. I'm here until the end as well, whatever that means. I want to I want to give one final suggestion. If you want to continue the conversation, if you feel that these podcast episodes are valuable to you, and you feel that you want to connect more closely with me and everything that I'm sharing and everything that is flowing through me, you want to have that as a as a as a companion in your life, then I can highly recommend you to check out my new Telegram channel. I started a private Telegram channel where I'm sharing currently like so much is flowing through me, like so many different impulses around all these topics, around spirituality, but at the same time about our economic system, about AI, about health, about relationships, about entrepreneurship. I'm a vessel for truth, and I'm sharing like currently like multiple times a day in the Telegram channel. Maybe there will be a time when I don't share that much, but currently I am so on fire and I'm sharing so much. And there are some beautiful conversations emerging. I want to go into more depth and into more connection with you and with everybody out there who's following my work and who are yeah, benefiting from that. So yeah, join the Telegram channel. It's living in the sacred economics. You can choose yourself what you want to contribute. There is no fixed amount. I want to make this possible and accessible for everybody, and at the same time, I highly appreciate all of your contributions. You can change your contribution every month. You can leave the channel at every time. Yeah, it's just an invitation. If you feel called to join, the link is in the show notes. See you on Telegram, and thank you for today's ride. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, to hear your reflections, to hear what everything that I said stirred up in you. Tell me on Telegram, or tell me on Instagram, or reply to the email newsletter that sent this episode your way. Or if you see me here in Bali, sitting in the jungle on my meditation cushion, say hello and give me a hug. Terima kasih. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.